Ladies and gentlemen, to commence the event, as a mark of our respect and pride of our nation, we will begin by singing our national anthem, Indonesia Raya. Please stand for national anthem Indonesia Raya, followed by Perbanas Mars. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are very honored to extend a very warm welcome at Perbanas Institute Jakarta for the opening ceremony of the 4th Perbanas International Conference on Economic, Business, Management, Accounting, and Information Technology, or PROFICIENT 2026. The PROFICIENT 2026 will feature a keynote seminar and parallel presentation from the prominent panelists on the first day, followed by an international community service program on the second day. This conference serves as an important platform for the exchange of ideas, scholarly discussion, and dissemination of highly researched quality. My name is Adi, and I'm very honored and privileged to host this today event. Before we begin the event, please allow me to extend our highest respect and warmest greeting to our distinguished guests who have graciously honored with us today. We are very honored to welcome the sixth President of the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Bapak Jenderal TNI Purnawirawan Profesor Dr. Haji Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono. Also join us Bapak Edi Baskoro Yudhoyono, the Vice Chairman of the Indonesian Consultative Assembly Republic of Indonesia. Also we have Bapak Teku Rafli Harsha, the Minister of Economy Creative Republic of Indonesia. We also have Bapak Agus Martowardoyo, Board of Trustee of the Perbanas Education Foundation. And then Bapak Dani Hartono, okay. I'm not Ibu Anika Faisal, the Secretary General of the Perbanas. We also welcome Ibu Afiliani, Bapak Kustama Taib, Bapak Hari Kusnaifi, and Ibu Rita Mirasari, the Governing Board of Indonesian Bank Association. We also honored to have with us Director of Perbanas Institute, Professor Hermanto Siregar, and our distinguished panelists, Professor Dr. Anggito Abimanyu, Chairman of the Board of the Commissioners Indonesia Deposit Insurance Corporation or Lembaga Penjamin Simpanan, Bapak Dr. Dian Ediana Ray, Chief Executive of Banking Supervision, Member of Board Commissioners Financial Services Authority or Otoritas Jasa Keuangan, Bapak YB Haryanto, Director of Operation and IT PT Bank Mega, TBK, and Ibu Veronica, or Professor Veronica Almase, Campus Director Polytechnic University of the Philippines. And finally, our respected distinguished guests, Perbanas Institute Vice Rector, all the Dean, faculty member, invited guests, media partner, and all participants of the 4th Proficient 2026, joining us both in person and virtually from various countries. Once again, thank you for the attention and for the coming. Ladies and gentlemen, to commence our event, let us come together in prayer. May this event be granted to bring goodness and blessing to all of us. The prayer will be led by Bapak Saripudin.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Before we start, let us pray together for the success and blessing of this event. I will lead the prayer in the Islamic way, and for those of other faiths, please feel free to pray in your own way. Astaghfirullahaladzim, astaghfirullahaladzim, astaghfirullahaladzim. Hamdan sakirin, hamdan na'imin, hamdan yukafiru majida. Ya Rabbana, lakal hamdu, kama yanbaghi li jalali wa ajimi sultanik. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. Allahumma inni as'aluka salamatan fi dini wa dunya wal akhirah, wa afiyatan fil jasad, wajidatan bil ilmi, wa barakatan bil rizki, wa taubatan qabl maut, wa rahmatan indal maut, wa maghfiratan ba'dal maut. Allahumma hawin alaina fi sakaratil maut, wa najata minan wal afa indal isab. Rabbana la tuzigh qulubana ba'da iz hadaitana wa hab lana min ladunka rahmah innaka antal wahhab. Allahumma la sahla ila ma ja'altahu sahla wa anta taj'alul azna ija syahta sahla. Ya hayyu ya qayyum bi rahmatika astaghis aslih lisani kulla wa la takilni ila nafsi tarfata aini. Rabbana atina min ladunka rahmata wa hayy lana min amrina rasada. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين amin amin ya rabbal alamin. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to Bapak Sarifuddin. Ladies and gentlemen, the next agenda is the opening address and welcoming remarks for the 4th Perbanas International Conference Proficient 2026 by Director of Perbanas Institute. May I now invite Professor Hermanto Siregar.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning and warmest regard to all of you. First of all, let me extend my deepest respect and highest honor to our esteemed keynote speaker, Bapak Jenderal TNI Purnawirawan Profesor Dr. Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono MA, the 6th President of the Republic of Indonesia. I also warmly welcome our distinguished panelists, Professor Anggito Abimanyu, and then Bapak Dian Ediana Rai, Bapak YB Haryantono, and online joining us, Professor Veronica Almasi from Philippine Polytechnic University. Further, I extend my warmest greetings to Bapak Dr. Agus Martowardoyo, Bapak Rifki Hafsah, Bapak Edi Baskoro Yudhoyono, Vice MPR Chief, and then with us also Pak Kostaman Tayyib, Bapak Henry Kunaiti, Ibu Anika Faisal, Ibu Isawati, and also Ibu Afiliani, Ibu Rita, Ibu Eka, Pak Taufan, Vice Rectors of Perbanas, and also the committee head, which is Bapak Dr. Sis Apik, who made all this preparation for our conference this morning. Welcome to the 4th Perbanas Conference on Economics, Business, Management, Accounting, and IT 2026. This year, we proudly present the theme, Integrity-Driven Innovation, Reimagining Business, Finance, and Digital Transformation for Sustainable Development. This theme was carefully chosen because we recognize that amidst rapid global shifts, true transformation and sustainable progress can only be achieved when innovation is deeply rooted in integrity. It is this very synergy that will shape better financial practices, drive digital evolution, and uphold ethical business standards. Today, we are confronted with profound global challenges, particularly climate change. International agreements aim at realizing the SDGs and pursuing net zero emission demand groundbreaking innovations. Such innovations inevitably give rise to new, more stable, and adaptive business models. Consequently, novel financing schemes are continually being developed to facilitate these emerging models. However, we must remain vigilant as all these rapid advancements concurrently introduce a spectrum of new risks. Therefore, comprehensive risk mitigation strategies must also be rigorously developed and implemented. Before we proceed to our main agenda, I am delighted to report that the enthusiasm for this year's event has been exceptional, maybe because of the presence of Bapak SBY. We have successfully received a total of 140 papers, consisting of 116 papers for the call of paper session and 24 papers of the International Community Service session being held tomorrow. Today, we are joined by a total of 150 participants who will actively engage in these academic and practical exchanges. We expect that the majority of the critical aspects I mentioned earlier will be thoroughly discussed throughout this conference. The highly strategic dimensions will be addressed during the keynote speech, while strategic yet highly practical perspectives will be shared by our esteemed panelists. Furthermore, the technical aspects from both practical and academic viewpoints will be deeply explored during our parallel sessions. To conclude, I would like to express again my highest appreciation and deepest gratitude to Bapak Profesor Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono for his presence and invaluable insights today. My sincere thanks also to our panelists. Last but not least, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all presenters online or offline, and also the attendees and everybody who has relentlessly supported and contributed to the success of this event. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Professor Hermanto Siregar, for the opening remarks of the Proficient 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, proceeding to the next agenda, we will have the keynote speech presentations, which will be delivered by His Excellency Jenderal TNI Purnawirawan, Profesor Dr. Haji Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, the sixth President of the Republic of Indonesia. Please join me in extending our warmest welcome and highest appreciation to His Excellency Jenderal TNI Purnawirawan, Profesor Dr. Haji Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Distinguished Rector of Perbanas Institute, Professor Dr. Hermanto Siregar, my good friend. I also recognize there are many prominent figures who are with us today in this beautiful building. Bapak Agus Martowardoyo, former Minister of Finance and also Governor of Bank Indonesia. It is good to handle the two important elements in our economy, fiscal and monetary, and you are the man. I recognize also Minister Rifki Harsa, Minister of Creative Economy under President Prabowo Subianto. I recognize Bapak Edi Baskoro, Wakil Ketua MPR. I know well his late mother. Bapak Anggito Abimanyu, my good friend. We've been working together in the past when I was accomplishing my duty in Yogyakarta. Teman-teman diskusi dulu dengan para aktivis. And many others prominent figures in the realm of economy. Distinguished speakers, professors, researchers, practitioners, students, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure for me to be here at Perbanas Institute. We know that Perbanas is an institution that has contributed significantly to Indonesia's banking, finance, economics, management, accounting, and information technology education. I am also pleased to join the fourth Perbanas International Conference on Economics, Business, Management, Accounting, and IT, Proficient 2026. The theme of this conference is timely and important. Integrity-driven innovations, reimagining business, finance, and digital transformation for sustainable impact. This theme speaks directly to the reality of our time. We live in an age of extraordinary innovations, but also an age of deep uncertainty. That is why today I wish to speak about sustainable development, policy, practice, and finance. I will share my reflection not only as a former president, but also as someone who has been involved in global discussion on development, including when I had the honor to serve as one of the co-chairs of the United Nations high-level panels on the post-2015 development agenda, together with President Johnson Sirleaf of Liberia and Prime Minister David Cameron of the United Kingdom. That process later contributed to the global conversations that led to the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. From that experience, I learned one important lesson. Sustainable development is not a slogan. It is a moral responsibility, a political choice, an economic strategy, and a long-term investment in the future of humanity. Let me begin with a simple proposition. Sustainable development will not happen merely because we talk about it. It will happen only when we are able to connect three things: good policy, credible practice, and responsible finance. Policy gives directions. Practice turns intention into reality. Finance provides the fuel. If one of these three is weak, development will not be sustainable. Therefore, the real test of sustainable development is not in the language we use, but in the discipline we apply. The world today does not lack ambitions. We have the SDGs. We have climate commitments. We have ESG, environmental, social, governance principle. We have digital transformation roadmaps. We have many declarations from time to time, from place to place. What the world urgently needs is execution with integrity. Ladies and gentlemen, when we speak about sustainable development, we must first understand the global context. The world is not in a normal condition. We know all about that. We are living through overlapping crisis by crisis. Climate change is no longer a distant prediction. It is now a daily experience. Flood, drought, forest fires, rising sea levels, food insecurity, and natural disaster that hit the poor and vulnerable the hardest. At the same time, the global economy is facing fragmentation. Trade is no longer driven only by efficiency, but also by geopolitics. Technology is becoming a source of productivity, but also a field of rivalry. We also see growing pressure in public finance. Many developing countries are spending more on debt service, while the financing needs for health, education, infrastructure, energy transition, and climate adaptation continue to rise. In this global situation, emerging economies like Indonesia, like us, must be wise. We cannot simply copy the path taken by advanced economies. We must design our own development strategy. Open to the world, but rooted in our national interests, market-oriented, of course, but socially responsible, growth-driven, but environmentally sustainable, and digitally advanced, but human-centered. This is the essence of sustainable development for Indonesia. Allow me now to share Indonesia's own experience. During my presidency, Indonesia faced several major tests. When the global financial crisis hit in 2008, Indonesia was not immune. But we survived because we maintained confidence, fiscal prudence, domestic demand, and good policy coordination. We learned that credibility matters. In times of uncertainty, market listen not only to numbers, but also to the quality of governance. When we rebuilt Aceh after the tsunami, we remember that long time ago, we learned that reconstruction was not only about buildings, roads, and houses. It was about restoring dignity, rebuilding trust, and creating peace. Development becomes sustainable when people feel that they are part of the process. That's important. And when Indonesia participated in global climate diplomacy, including the Bali Climate Conference in 2007, we learned that developing countries must be part of the solution. We cannot say that climate change is only the responsibility of advanced economies. But we also must insist that global climate action must be fair, realistic, and supported by adequate finance and technology. I often say when it comes to our collaboration in combating climate change, rich country, developed country must take the lead. But developing countries like many other countries like Indonesia must do more. It is fair collaboration in international arena. These lessons remain relevant today. Ladies and gentlemen, if sustainable development is our destination, then we must be clear about the foundation that will bring us there. In my view, there are three essential pillars that must work together: policy, practice, and finance. Now let me turn to first pillar, policy. Good policy must do three things. First, it must provide clarity of direction. Sustainable development requires long-term consistency. Everyone needs to know where the country is going. Policy uncertainty is costly. It delays investment, weakens trust, and makes transformation harder. Second, good policy must be integrated. We cannot treat economic growth, financial stability, digital transformation, climate action, and social inclusion as separate agenda. They are connected. Third, good policy must be credible. Credibility comes from governance, transparency, and the rule of law. Once again, and the rule of law. In the digital economy, credibility is even more important. That is why I appreciate the theme of this conference, Bapak Hermanto, integrity-driven innovations. Innovation without integrity can be dangerous. It can produce efficiency without fairness. It can produce profit without responsibility. It can produce disruption without social protections. But innovation with integrity can become a powerful force for human progress. That's the first pillar. The second pillar of sustainable development is practice. We must be honest. The world has many good policies, but implementation often fails. The question is why? Because practice is where interests collide, where bureaucracy is tested, where politics meets bureaucracy, where regulation meets vested interests, and where ideal meet operational realities. This is why leadership matters greatly. In many countries, sustainable development programs fail not because of lack of ideas, but because a weak institution, fragmented coordination, corruption, short-term political thinking, and lack of execution capacity. Implementation requires leaders who are willing to think beyond electoral cycles and quarterly reports. Beyond that, itulah bedanya politisi dengan negarawan. Today, governments are expected to move faster than ever before. Citizens demand quick result. Market react instantly. Social media amplifies pressure, put more pressure. Yet, sustainable development by its nature is a long-term endeavor. This is our great challenge. Therefore, leaders today must have the courage to combine urgency with patience. Sabar, tapi dengan purpose, dengan direction, dan dengan determination. I would like to remind you that the private sector also has a decisive role. In the 21st century, corporations are no longer judged solely by how much profit they generate. once again, how much profit they generate. Not only that question. Increasingly, they are judged by how they generate that profit. This is a fundamental shift. Companies that ignore environmental risks, social legitimacy, or governance quality may still survive temporarily. But in the long run, trust me, they will face growing pressure from regulators, investors, consumers, and society itself. On the other hand, companies that embrace sustainability strategically often become stronger, more adaptive, and more trusted. Ladies and gentlemen, the third pillar is finance. Let me say clearly, sustainable development will not succeed without sustainable finance. Good intentions alone are not enough. Every nation today faces a difficult reality. Development requires enormous investment. We all know infrastructure, energy transition, food security, healthcare, education, digital connectivity, climate adaptation, and poverty reduction all require capital. At the same time, fiscal pressures are increasing globally. This is why financial innovation becomes critically important. But again, innovation must be guided by integrity. The financial sector must become an enabler of sustainable transformation, not merely a passive observer. Remember, banks must support productive sectors. Must. It is imperative. Capital market must encourage long-term investment. Financial regulator must maintain stability while encouraging innovations. And global financial architecture must become fairer and more inclusive in developing countries. Every time when I was in office, attended G20 summit, I always reminded all world leaders not only about global growth, not only about balanced growth, but it is about inclusiveness. No country should be left in a modern world. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me now share one broader reflection. The future of sustainable development will not be determined only by governments, not only by corporations, not only by financial institutions. The future will be shaped by, once again, collaboration. That's why multilateralism is important. Now, country is for itself. T0. Multilateralism goodbye. It's not a good sign. We have to bring back collaboration, togetherness, and spirit of multilateralism. Universities, policymakers, scientists, entrepreneurs, civil society, technologies, bankers, regulators, and communities must work together. And this is why conferences like Proficient 2026 are important. The world today needs more dialogue between policy and practice. Indonesia needs more dialogue and conversation among us, between academia and industry, between innovation and ethics. Because one of the greatest dangers in our era is fragmentation. Fragmentation in politics, not good. Fragmentation of economies, fragmentation of information, and even fragmentation of truth itself. We must not allow technology to disconnect humanity from humanity. Must connect, must unite. At this important gathering, let me speak especially to the younger generation present here today. Younger generation, you all is our future. I trust you. Someday, you will be able to lead and govern this beloved country for the better. You are entering a world that is far more complex than the one my generation inherited. You will face technological disruption, geopolitical uncertainty, climate risk, demographic changes, and transformation in the nature of work itself. But Alhamdulillah, you also possess extraordinary opportunities. You are equipped well to face your challenge for your future success. You are the first generation truly connected globally through digital technology. You have access to knowledge faster than any generation before you. You can innovate, collaborate, and create impact across borders. However, once again, knowledge alone is not enough. Intelligence alone is not enough. Innovation alone is also not enough. Character matters. Integrity matters. Empathy matters. Wisdom matters. Because ultimately, the future will not be determined only by how advanced our technology becomes, but by whether humanity itself becomes more ethical, more compassionate, and more responsible. Finally, let me conclude with this thought. The 21st century will not only test the strength of economies, it will test the strength of values. I keep saying the importance of values, of principles, of ethics, of moral foundation in running the government and leading the world. It will test whether humanity can manage innovation wisely, whether politics can think long term, not only short term, whether finance can serve society, whether technology can strengthen civilization rather than divide it. But I remain optimistic. I am an cautious optimist. I believe humanity still has the capacity to choose cooperation over conflicts, sustainability over destructions, integrity over corruptions, and wisdom over short-termism. If I could add, country over party. That's important. Loyalty to. There are many politicians here. Loyalty to my party ends when loyalty to my country begins. Remember that. But optimism alone is not enough. Optimism must be accompanied by action. Sustainable development is not somebody else's responsibility. It is our shared responsibility. Government must lead wisely. Businesses must innovate responsibly. Financial institutions must act prudently. Universities must nurture ethical leadership. And citizens must remain engaged and vigilant. If policy is guided by wisdom, if practice is guided by integrity, and if finance is guided by responsibility, then sustainable development will not merely remain an aspiration. It will become reality. I thank you.
Thank you, Bapak SBY, for the insightful keynote address. And we kindly ask Bapak SBY to remain on the stage. And now we would like to witness the token of appreciation to the keynote speaker. The token of appreciation will be presented by Bapak Agus Marto Wardoyo. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a warm round of applause to His Excellency Bapak Jenderal TNI Purnawirawan Profesor Dr. Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, the sixth President of the Republic of Indonesia. To commemorate this special occasion, we will now have a group photo session. We can invite Bapak Rektor to come forward. Bapak Sis Api Wijayanto, Ketua Umum Dies Natalis, and then Ibu Lisawati to come forward to take the photo session. And for the photographers to take ready to take the picture of this distinguished keynote speaker and Perbanas members. Thank you, Bapak. And one more, Bapak SBY, to stand right here while we want to take the picture from the front. Ya. Persilahkan para fotografer untuk bisa di depan panggung untuk mengabadikan. Para hadirin kami mohon untuk bisa berdiri, ya, berdiri dan memberikan wajah yang penuh semangat ya untuk fotonya. Silahkan. Baik. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall continue with the next agenda of Proficient 2026. In this special occasion, we would also extend our appreciation to all our sponsors and partners for their generous support of the success of this event. Allow me to read all the sponsors and partners of Proficient 2026. Asuransi Stako Mandiri, PT Bank Rakyat Indonesia Persero Tbk, Perbanas, Perhimpunan Bank Nasional, Lembaga Penjamin Simpanan, Otoritas Jasa Keuangan, APP Group, PT Rintis Sejahtera, PT Pegadaian, Bank Mandiri, PT Triwahana Universal, PT Sarana Mukti Infrastruktur Persero, PT Bank Sentral Asia Tbk, PT Pertamina Persero, PT Bank Negara Indonesia Persero Tbk, PT Inti Indosawit Subur, PT Jaminan Kredit Indonesia, BTN, BRI Life, PT Asuransi Tripataka, PT Asuransi Kredit Indonesia, PT Bank Syariah Indonesia Tbk, PT Alobank Indonesia Tbk, BRI Insurance, PT Raja Wali Nusantara Indonesia Persero atau ID Food, PT Permodalan Nasional Madani, PT BNI Life Insurance, and PT Bank Victoria International Tbk. Ladies and gentlemen, in this special occasion, certificate of appreciation will also presented to all the panelists and moderators in today's seminar. We now would like to invite on the stage Professor Dr. Anggito Abimanyu, the chairman of the Board of Commissioners Indonesian Deposit Insurance, to come on the stage. And then Bapak Dr. Dian Ediana Rui, Chief Executive of Banking Supervision, Commission of Financial Services Authority. Bapak YB Haryanto, Director of Operation and IT, PT Bank Mega Tbk. And Ibu Dr. Mardiana Purwaningsih, the moderator for today's seminar, to accept the token of appreciation. And the token appreciation will be awarded by our Rector, Professor Hermanto Sirigar. We also invite Bapak Agus Marto to accompany Bapak Rektor to award the certificate of appreciation to all the panelists and moderators today. Please give a round of applause to all the panelists and moderators. Thank you, and you may all now return to your seat. Ladies and gentlemen, we now move on the main agenda for today's event, Proficient 2026, which is the presentation by our panelists. And for this session, we will have Ibu Dr. Mardiana Purwaningsih, who will be acting as the seminar moderator. And allow me to read a brief CV of Ibu Dr. Mardiana. Ibu Dr. Mardiana Purwaningsih, she is the faculty member of Perbanas Institute, and currently she is the Dean of the Information and Technology Faculty of Perbanas Institute. She earned doctoral degree in computer science from University of Indonesia, a researcher and expert in smart city and tourism and digital government, focusing on digital transformation, sustainable urban development, technology-enabled tourism, and innovative public governance. Dr. Mardiana also actively involved in research, policy advisory, and academic collaboration that support data-driven and citizen-centered development. So now we can invite Ibu Dr. Mardiana to come forward.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Selamat pagi Bapak Ibu semuanya, distinguished speaker, respected guests, faculty member, student and all participants today. We had a very good pleasure to have you today in Proficient 2026. And we have the theme about the integrity-driven innovation, reimagining business, finance, and digital transformation for sustainable development. The highlight is balancing about information technology, ethical leadership, banking regulation, and also sustainable growth that have very powerful in the world today. And we honor on the line-up a distinguished speaker who bring extensive and very expert in their experience. So kindly, I will invite them to follow us in the stage. The first is Bapak Profesor Dr. Anggito Abimanyu, Chairman of the Board of Commissioner of the Indonesian Deposit Insurance Corporation, LPS. Silakan, Prof. And the second is Bapak Dr. Dian Ediana Rain, the Chief Executive of Banking Supervision at the Financial Service Authority of Indonesia, OJK. Monggo, Pak Dian. And our third speaker is Bapak YB Haryantono, Director of Operation and Information Technology of PT Bank Mega Tbk. Silakan Bapak. And also joining with us via Zoom, Profesor Veronica Almase, Director of PUP Philippines. Okay, Bapak-Bapak, we have about 15 until 20 minutes each speaker for presentation. Again, after this, we will continue with the question and answer. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we will now start the first session. Our first speaker, Profesor Dr. Anggito Abimanyu, Chairman of Board of Commissioner of the Indonesia Deposit Insurance Corporation, LPS. Let's to read our CV from Prof. Anggito. He previously served as Deputy Minister of Finance of the Cabinet Merah Putih in 2024 and was later appointed as Chairman of the Indonesian Deposit Insurance Corporation for term 2025 until 2030. Prof. Anggito also held the PhD in Economics from the University of Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, USA. Thank you very much, Prof, to have you in today. We look forward you to perspective in financial stability, governance, and also sustainable development. You have maybe 15 until 20 minutes to presentation, and floor is yours.
Terima kasih. Selamat pagi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning to all of you. Salam sejahtera. When I was asked to speak to this prestigious conference, I immediately say yes, because of Pak Agus Marto, who's the one who I saw on the list of the letter, and Pak Rektor, who's been instrumental in my career. I would like to say thanks for this invitation. I always be praised for Perbanas to be able to improve the performance going forward. And LPS, we have had about 10 professional staffs who work with me, so I really thanks to the contributions of the Perbanas Institute to our institutions. I look forward to have more professional staff from Perbanas and students who would like to do internship, would like to do some interim working periods, LPS or IDIC is very much open for collaborations. Distinguished rectors, Pak Hermanto, and vice rectors, the board of trustee, Pak Agus Martawadoyo, and supervisory board, and the PPH, is it called PPH? The respected professors, my colleagues, Pak Sis Apik, who've been my mentor since when I was at PRI. He taught me how to do a bankers. I never been a bankers. I never dreamed to become a bankers. My DNA was a public policy. I served my entire career as a professor, as a lecturer. So when I was asked to select, did I want to be at MOF, university, or LPS? Certainly I chose university as my blood, but since the government appointed me as a chairman of this IDIC, I certainly happy to take this opportunity. It's a privilege to be here. The theme of this topic is very relevant, relevant because of two things, because of the fast moving of the innovations. Number two is the financial sectors is very interesting topic. Financial sectors is a fast moving sectors, very fast. The transaction is faster than regulators to act, while in the fiscal policy is the other way around. The regulators is ahead of this economy. So that's why when I moved to the finance sectors, I'm a bit confused because of the fast moving and the element of transactions, industry, regulations, global phenomena. It was unbelievably fast. So I begin to learn the financial sectors. I begin to learn by reading a book. They call it Beyond Banking. I read that book in 2025. This is called Beyond Banks. I'm not promoting this book, I'm not selling this book. So this is the book that I recommend for you to read. I understand some of you already read this book. This is a very good book, Financial power is no longer reside in vaults, but resides in data. This is Don Ori, I don't know how to pronounce this, Beyond Banks. I already make columns in media. I have written intensively, and I have used this as a reference from my day-to-day work. Now, finance, for decades, when people talk about finance, they thought about banks. Banks stood the center of payments, lending, savings, and investment. Correct? Financial stability was largely assessed through the health of the banking institutions. Success in finance often meant mastering accounting, understanding balance sheets, managing risks within clearly defined institutional boundaries. That's what I've learned so far from Pak Agus. Is it correct, Pak Agus? Yeah. You taught me how to do a good banker, but I never been and never will be a banker. Today, however, we are entering a fundamentally different era. If I look this book, I have read intensively this book. Financial activity is increasingly moving beyond traditional banks and into a digital ecosystem. So I come here because I know Pak Rector has a difficult task to transform this Perbanas into beyond banks, something which cannot be neglected and something that you cannot escape from this. Payments occur through smartphones rather than branches. Lending decisions are increasingly shaped by algorithms rather than relationship between managers. Investment are made through platforms capable of reaching millions of users within months, or within weeks, or even within days. Increasingly, data rather than physical infrastructure has become the new foundation of finance. As Don Ori argues and beyond banks, financial power no longer resides solely in vaults, it increasingly resides in data, platform, and algorithms. I'm still learning how to pronounce that. Algorithms, finance, platforms. Sorry, I'm still learning. This transformation creates extraordinary opportunities, including to Perbanas Institute on those who are involved in the finance education. Indonesia has become one of the fastest growing digital finance market in South Asia. The rapid expansion of CRIS, digital banking, fintech lending and investment platform has broadened financial access to millions of citizens who were previously underserved. Financial inclusion is no longer merely as a policy aspirations. Increasingly, it is becoming lived reality. It's not reimagining, but we are living in a reality. Yet, every technology revolution carries new challenges. The same technology that democratized finance can also concentrate power. The same algorithms that accelerate lending can also simplify risk. And the same platform can create convenience, can simultaneously generate vulnerabilities that traditional regulatory frameworks were never designed to address. The central question for your generation, the young generation, therefore, is now whether digital finance will continue to grow. It will. The more important question is whether the transformation will create a financial system that is more inclusive, resilient, and ethical, as the former president, SPY, has mentioned about the integrity of the system, the ethical issues, or whether it will produce new forms of inequality, instability, and exploitation. The answer depends on leadership, educations. Leadership based on the education. It depends the quality of educations, quality of leadership that emerge from institutions as this one. Ladies and gentlemen, Bapak-Bapak, Ibu sekalian, let me now touch the issue of the challenge for university education. My heart is in the education. My DNA is education. I've seen the challenges for education, talent gap. One of the greatest challenges facing university today is the widening gap between students who learn and what the financial industry is increasingly demand. I'm in both sides, so I can measure this. This is something which we at the university have to face this challenge. I've spoken to Pak Dian many times with regard to this education gap, which is very serious. I thought Sharia finance was very much lag behind what the industry demands required. Traditional financial education remains essential. I don't want to undermine the importance of the financial education as such. Risk management, portfolio theory, corporate finance, banking regulation continue to provide the foundation of professional competence. But foundations alone are no longer sufficient. Tomorrow or today or tomorrow, financial leaders must also understand artificial intelligence, data analytics, cybersecurity, behavioral finance, digital ethics, and platform economics. Something which I have had not been able to learn, but because I'm part of the regulators, I'm to learn very quickly. Most of my young staff have been given me very updated knowledge with regard to these issues. As Ori reminds in Beyond Banks, graduates who cannot understand algorithm risk may find themselves structurally unprepared for the reality of modern finance, regardless of GPA or index prestasi or professional credentials. I have been recruiting many of young talent, young students. I felt I'm very disappointing with these graduates who are unable to address the issue of modern finance, as I indicated earlier. Likewise, technical expertise alone is not enough. The future will reward individuals who combine technical capability with leadership capacity. The ability to manage uncertainty, communicate across disciplines, build trust, make ethical decisions under pressure will become even more valuable in the world increasingly shaped by automations and intelligent systems. Artificial intelligence may outperform humans in processing information. You know, my presentation is AI basically. You can tell, right? When did I make this? Last night I called to Pak Asis. I asked whether this is going to be in English or Bahasa. This morning I saw this English. I just converted 5 minutes and I sent it to my staff. You know, so the business process is now being cut down. I don't need my staff, but I need my staff. but really, business process has changed. Starting from the simple way to do it, I can produce very nice presentation material. I just doing a prompting, I just directing the AI to produce what I need. So you can tell this is my own presentation materials. Leadership remains fundamentally humans. Technology are generate answers. Only leaders can determine which question truly matters. Technology can optimize efficiency. Only leaders can safeguard fairness and accountability. Technology can broaden financial inclusion. Only leaders or educators can ensure that inclusion does not become exploitation. This is why university like Perbanas Institute must do more than educate professionals. They must develop leaders with ethical behavior, leaders with integrity behavior, leaders who understand both innovation, ethic, and responsibility, leaders who can balance growth with stability, and leaders who recognize what finance is ultimately about people, not merely transactions. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just touch upon the issue of regulators. But Dian forgive me to touch a bit of the issue of the role of OJK. I think OJK has a very important roles in these days. As I said, financial sector moving very fast. Regulator basically or usually late to regulate because our industry is fast moving, very fast. Regulator cannot catch up immediately. But now has changed. I think I've seen the way that OJK has been catch up, has been responding very fast on this fast moving of the regulators. Regulatory institutions are evolving rapidly to meet these challenges. The law of P2SK, the financial sector development, has significantly expanding the responsibility of financial regulators. The Financial Service Authority, or OJK, is moving toward more technological-driven supervisory framework. I think Pak Dian can tell more about this, and the way the OJK now being structured, the way they're responding, the way they're thinking about the integration, thinking about sandboxing, thinking about conduct and integrity is, I think by far, I think I can feel that there's a progress on the OJK going forward. Now let's move to another regulatory evolution, which is the LPS, my own institutions. By the way, Pak Dian is also involved, also part of this chairmanship committee of this IDIC. Now, the IDIC has also been transforming quite fast, you know. And the old days, IDIC is only a simple post-liquidation payout agency into comprehensive bank resolutions and risk minimizing authority. This is something which have seen this, and I was happy to lead this because of the mandate of the IDIC now has been expanded into what's so-called the risk minimizing authority. It also metamorphosing directly tackles the reality of the beyond banks era. LPS or IDIC also been given a mandate for insurance industry guarantee and resolutions. You know, we have been giving more and more mandate, which is quite challenging for the IDIC going forward. A third, without trust, deposit will disappear. So trust is number one. Without trust, investment weakens. Without trust, financial system cannot function. That's why the future of finance not merely an technological challenge, but also fundamentally a challenge governance credibility and institutional resilience. Let me conclude. Just go to because of time constraint. Let's just go to the strategic imperative, slide number 8. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to what I call the Indonesia strategic imperative. This first imperative is to prioritize quality over quantity. Digital transformation should not be measured merely through transaction volume of the number of applications downloaded. Such a metric may create an illusion of success while obscuring deeper vulnerabilities. The more meaningful measure is quality of protection, resilience, and trust embedded within the system. The second imperative is close the regulatory lag. Away highlights an increasingly dangerous reality. Technology moves at the algorithm speed, while regulation often moves at legislative speed. You know what I mean. Innovative accelerate, oversight struggle to keep pace, and systemic risk may accumulate in space that remains only partially visible. That's why regulatory agility matters. Not to constrain innovation, but to ensure the innovation remain sustainable and accountable. The third imperative is development sovereign digital infrastructure. The digital economy data is merely information. Increasingly, it is a strategic asset. Indonesia must therefore strengthen data sovereignty and ensure that financial intelligence, consumer behavior, and digital ecosystem do not become exclusively dependent upon or controlled by external platforms. In this context, the law of P2SK and Indonesia financial sector reform represent important institutional milestone, but legislation alone never sufficient. Implementation speed, institutional capacity, regulatory coordination will ultimately determine success. Let me conclude by saying this. As we look ahead, the set of critical fault lines deserve our attention. First, the consumer vulnerability. Second, the power of concentration. Third, the talent regulation misalignment. As we look forward toward 2035, Indonesia stands before a remarkable opportunity. We are one of the world's largest digital economies. We possess a young and increasingly educated population. We have dynamic entrepreneurs, expanding financial ecosystem, and institutions that continue to evolve. But success is not an automatic. The future belongs to countries capable of combining innovation with resilience, inclusion with protection, and technological process with ethical leadership. For university, for Perbanas University, means redesigning education as quickly as technology evolves. For regulators, Pak Dian and myself, it means supervising risk whatever they emerge, not merely with regulation has historically applied. For industry, it means creating value that empowers citizens rather than exploiting information asymmetric. For students who will still be here, it means embracing lifelong learning. The diploma or the degree you will receive will not mark at the end of education. It marks the beginning. The technology used today may become obsolete within a decade. The skill that you possess today will require continued renewal. But integrity, curiosity, adaptability, leadership will remain timeless asset. The more important question, who will it serve, who will lead it, and what values will shape it? The answer not found in the algorithm alone. It is found in classroom, research center, institutions, among future leaders such as those who gather here today. The future of Indonesia will not be written by technology alone. It will be written by professors. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi. Thank you, Mr. Anggito. There is a very big homework from us in higher education to challenge the gap about curriculum and the domain of industry. Thank you again. And we move to the second speaker, ladies and gentlemen. We have Bapak Dr. Dian Ediana Rai, Chief Executive of Banking Supervision at the Financial Services Authority of Indonesia, OJK. And I will read the CV of Bapak Dian before. Currently, the Executive Head of Banking Supervision and member on the Board of Commissioner Financial Service Authority for period 2022 until 2027. And he also got a doctorate in Economy Law from Faculty of Law Universitas Indonesia. Bapak Ediana Rai, we hope you can share with us about banking supervision, financial resilience, and also how the future of financial industry. And the floor is yours. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, moderators. Good morning, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan dan selamat pagi. Yang saya hormati, Honorable Pak Agus Marto, our former governors, and he's still the governor actually of the central banks. And you know, the following is only replacement by. And also certainly Professor Hermanto Siregar. So thank you so much for inviting me, Pak Hermanto. Mr. Teguh Rifki Harsha, and I think he's not here anymore. And certainly my colleague, Professor Anggito Abimanyu, Chairman of the Boards of Commissioner, Indonesian Deposit Insurance Corporations, and Mr. Toto Prasetyo, Director of Information Technology, Bank Negara Indonesia, and also Professor Veronica S. Almas. I don't know, is he here? Oh, is he online? Okay, sorry. So, Professor Veronica S. Almas, Campus Director, Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Ragai. And Dr. Mardiana Purwaningsih is the moderator of this conference. Esteemed official from ministries and government institutions, members of the board of directors of banking institution and industry leaders. It is indeed my pleasure to be here, I think, and I'd like to thank the committee actually for inviting me to give a presentation to share our insight relating to the two most challenging issues in our times, actually relating to the IT and advancement, especially we're talking about the artificial intelligence as well as also sustainable finance. So I think since our sixth president has already spoken and the professor has already given lectures, so my job actually now is a lot easier, but it actually I will need to only concentrate on my job. What am I doing actually? What I'm doing actually in OJK, or Financial Services Authority of Indonesia. So I will give you a presentation. Please, can my colleague help me? I mean, so can you start with the slide number 3? It's quite a bit long. Hopefully it won't boring you. I think so. Hopefully I can finish up by before 15 minutes or 20 minutes as required. So in this slide, I think the developments of the global digital ecosystem indicates that the world has entered a phase of increasingly widespread and inclusive technology adoption. Approximately 70% of the world populations, equivalent to 7.76 billion people, use mobile phones, with smartphone accounting for 87%. Billions people use mobile phone, with smartphone of total device usage. In terms of internet connectivity, 73.2% of the global population, or approximately 6.04 billion people, are connected online. Indonesia is projected to have approximately 230 million internet users by the end of 2026, with a penetration rate of 80.5% for the total populations. As the Southeast Asian regions move rapidly toward a global transformation driven by artificial intelligence, or AI, Indonesia has emerged as regional leaders in both user adoption and commercial momentums. This leadership is supported by exceptional user readiness, with 80% of users in Indonesia interacting with AI-based tools every day, the second highest rate in the regions. According to a report by Fortune Business Insight, the top 3 global industries adopting AI technologies were IT and telecommunications, financial services, and automotive. Within the financial service industry, banks worldwide are deploying AI across a range of use cases. Common applications include chatbot for customer service, real-time monitoring for fraud detection, and know your customer processes. These implementations have delivered measurable benefit, most notably improved customer experience through digitalizations and enhanced operation efficiency and increased accuracy in compliance and back office function. Reflecting this global development, a recent OJK survey in collaboration with the World Bank reveals a growing trend in AI adoption among Indonesian banks, albeit with varying levels of maturity. The degree of AI integration differs across institutions, depending on their business priorities and risk appetites. Many institutions, depending on their business practice and risk appetite. Many banks have already implemented machine learning models, particularly for risk assessment, predictive analytics, and anomaly detection, whilst others remain in the pilot phase. Looking ahead, many banks plan to accelerate AI adoption over the next 3 to 5 years, with generative AI expected to play a significant role. On slide 5, despite the opportunities offered by AI, banks must navigate a range of risks and challenges. One emerging concern is the proliferation of deepfakes, which pose a serious threat to trust, identity verification, and information integrity. Another major issue is the black box natures of many AI systems, whose complex internal logic is often difficult to interpret or audit, even by their own developers. Additional will include AI bias, where output may reflect discriminatory or skew outcomes due to non-representative training data or biased algorithm design. And cybersecurity threat, as AI models can be manipulated through adversarial input or subject to data poisoning attack, undermining both functionality and data integrity. Beyond individual use case risks, AI adoption introduces financial stability challenges that stem from operational risk, market risk, and informational risk. This risk underscores the pressing needs for robust governance framework and effective risk management practices that consider the distinct characteristics of AI technologies in the banking sectors. Now we turn to page number 7. OJK commitment to encourage and oversee the acceleration of digital banking transformation has been initiated through several initiatives. First is the formulations of policy and strategic development direction through several master plan and roadmap, including roadmap for the development and strengthening of Islamic banking industry, rural banks, and regional development bank. A second, publication of the blueprints of digital transformation in banking as a reference to accelerate digital transformation in banking. This blueprint focused on 5 main elements that provide the basis for developing digitalization for banking, which include guidelines for implementing data, technology, risk management, collaboration, and institutional arrangement. Third, issuance of relevant policies and guidelines to enhance banking digital resilience, namely digital resilient guidelines AI governance for Indonesian banking, and social media in banking guidelines. Fourth, oversight by supervisory technology through SupTech development and implementation to support financial services sectors, supervision and licensing. This strategic policy and guidelines serve as a soft law to complement a series of regulations aims at encouraging and supporting the digital transformation of banking services, which include POJK 11 and also PADK number 1 on the implementation of the information technology by commercial bank, SAOJK 29 on cyber resilience and security for commercial banks, and SLOJK number 24 on digital bank maturity level assessment, and POJK 21 on digital services by commercial bank. Now turn to slide number 8. OJK has issued the Artificial Intelligence Governance Guideline for Indonesian Bank on 29 April 2025, following OJK's commitment in ensuring that AI systems are implemented in a responsible and trustworthy manners across Indonesian bank. These guidelines serve as a minimum reference for banks in the development and deployment of AI system designed to ensure that AI is implemented responsibly and in alignment with existing regulations. The guideline introduced a set of principle-based governance framework to ensure the ethical, secure, and effective use of AI across the banking sectors. These guiding principles are organized into 3 core dimensions: accountability, human oversight, and reliability. On the page 9, to put this principle into practice, the AI governance guideline emphasizes the need for a comprehensive approach to implementation encompassing risk management, governance, and AI audit. These three pillars forms the foundation for ensuring AI systems are safe, ethical, and aligned with regulatory expectations throughout their life cycle. By integrating these components, Indonesian banks can establish an AI ecosystem that fosters innovation while maintaining trust, fairness, and stability within the financial system. Ladies and gentlemen, honorable guests, as banks strengthen their digital capabilities through data, artificial intelligence, and stronger governance framework, these same capabilities become increasingly important in addressing broader systemic challenges. Among these climate change stands out as one of the most significant long-term facing economies and financial system today. Therefore, alongside accelerating digital innovations, the bank must also strengthen its capacity to manage climate-related risks and mobilize capital toward a sustainable and low-carbon futures. On the slide number 11, we would like to say a few things. The financial sector is currently facing escalating global climate pressure. Accordingly, OJK is actively steering the financial sector, led by the banking sector, to protect the economy, society, and environments. This slide illustrates OJK's blueprints for the banking industry, a structured, sustainable finance ecosystem specifically designed to support Indonesia's nationally determined contribution and net zero emission target, advancing resilience in a low-carbon economy. This ecosystem is built through an explicit interplay between supply and demand, grounded in a solid policy ecosystem. OJK has established a clear, legally binding parameters for developing sustainable finance from banking of market operation through the issuance of POJK number 51 on core sustainability finance, POJK number 17 on climate governance and risk management, and POJK 18 on sustainable debt instrument, and POJK 14 on the carbon markets. To transition this policy into measurable actions, OJK have issued the Indonesian Sustainable Finance Taxonomy, or TKBI, Climate Risk Management and Scenario Analysis Framework, or CRMS, Sustainable Maturity Assessment Report, or SMARTS, and Climate Risk and Banking Resilience Assessment, or CBRA, which serve as the guideline for financial institutions in assessing climate risk, climate stress tests, and evaluating how physical and transition climate risks directly impact traditional metrics like NPL and capital adequacy ratio. Going forwards to complete the policy ecosystem, we are rapidly internalizing implementation of International Financial Reporting Standard S1, S2 into OJK policy on disclosure for market discipline approach. However, policy and guideline alone are not enough to create a market. To bridge the gap, the sustainability financial deepening pillars actively stimulate product development by accelerating tailored financing mechanism for high-impact sector like forestry, construction, and real estate through dedicated climate financing incubators and specialized investment working group. We are transforming theoretical green frameworks into viable, high-quality banking asset and financing. This framework represents a closed-loop system of accountability and growth by tightly linking financial capital with the environment. We are ensuring that the Indonesian banking sector does not merely survive the climate transition, but also actively finance and lead its creation of a low-carbon economic growth. And for slide 12, OJK utilized a strategic dual tracks methodology consisting of a micro-level bottom-up assessment driven by individual banking institution through CRMS implementation, paired with the macro-level top-down assessment and executed directly by the regulators. The banking industry bottom-up climate risk assessment is anchored by the CRMS rule guide, an integrated framework covering governance, strategy, risk management, and disclosure. It mandates that banks assess business model resilience across short, medium, and long-term horizon. As for the top-down climate risk assessment, it is formalized in our landmark CBRA white paper released in 2026, which measures climate risk across the entire macroeconomy. It utilizes sophisticated quantitative methodology to project climate impact on core banking performance metrics. In conclusion, this dual tracks assessment delivers data-driven signals to the market by aligning corporate bottom-up risk management with regulatory top-down stress testing. OJK is giving the banking sector the exact diagnostic tools required to protect asset, preserve capital, and finance low-carbon futures. And on the last slide, I think slide number 13, the ESG baseline evaluating banking maturity through SMART 2025. In supervisory tools, OJK has published the Sustainability Maturity Assessment Report, or SMART, in 2025. This diagnostic instrument provides a rigorous data-driven baseline of how effectively Indonesian banking sector is integrating sustainable finance principle across three core ESG pillars: environment, social, and governance. The assessment looks specifically at high-impact metrics, including carbon emission reduction, high-emission sector transition, labor protection, and governance outcome. The baseline result is critical. The average bank maturity score in implementing sustainable finance currently stands at 51.89%. This score signals a sector that has built a solid foundation structures and urgent need for targeted intervention to bridge remaining implementation gap and elevate our systemic ESG maturity. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, honorable guests, the future of the banking sector will be greatly determined by the ability of all stakeholders to utilize technology wisely and responsibly. Therefore, I would like to invite industry players, technology providers, and other stakeholders to work together in building a digital banking ecosystem that is not only innovative, but also secure, resilient, inclusive, and sustainable. Strong collaboration is key to enabling us to effectively navigate the various challenges and risks that accompany the digitalization process. Thank you for your kind attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bapak Dian Ediana Rai. There are two important points that you mentioned about the using AI in the era and how to support the climate change or sustainable banking sector. Thank you so much. And now we move to the third speaker. We have Bapak YB Haryantono from PT Bank Mega Tbk. Let me read the CV of Bapak Haryantono. Director of Operation and Information Technology at PT Bank Mega Tbk, Bapak Haryantono spent all his career time in banking sector and held CIO position in several banks as follow Bank Permata, Maybank, BTPN, and also from BNI. Bapak Haryantono, we're looking forward from you insight about the innovation, digital transformation, especially in finance and banking sector. And now the floor is yours.
Yang saya hormati Pak Agus Martowardoyo, Pak Anggito Abimayu, Chief dari Indonesia Deposit Insurance, Pak Dian Edianare, Dewan Komisioner OJK, Prof. Hermanto dan segenap Sivitas Akademika Perbanas Institute, juga para board member dari Perbanas, and all distinguished guests that join this conference. A very good afternoon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. I think we have been hearing three speakers that giving us all the universe of what is the future finance. Yeah, it's a broad, comprehensive. So I'm a bit nervous on what to show or to present here after all these comprehensive presentations. But today, what I would like to present in this session is more on the point of view of the technology itself in the banking industry. Yeah. Next. So the topic is talking about digitalizations into AI. When we are talking about revolution or evolutions, yeah, there are many ways of seeing this. Yeah. So maybe the very basic on the long period, when we are talking about industrial revolutions that happens, we know about James Watt starting the steam machine, something like that, 150 or 200 years ago. Yeah. The revolutions happens on replacing the muscle of people, the legs and the foot, yeah, how we do things, the mechanical being replaced by machine, yeah. So the machine itself can do better than humans on that point of view, yeah. Nowadays, we are talking about technology that is being changing, and we are coming into the second revolutions. We are talking about AI. What is AI doing right now is not replacing the hand and leg. Yeah, it's replacing the brain. Yeah. So in this point of view of revolution, so after the people being replaced, the mechanical, now the thinking process is being replaced itself. If we squeeze down the period itself into the banking industry, we are talking about when we are doing banking in the beginning is talking about branch banking, centralized into core banking, then internet coming in. We are talking about mobile banking, digital ecosystems, like being mentioned also by Pak Anggito or Pak Dian. And then now we are facing the next frontier of AI banking. Yeah. So when digital is talking about anything into the systems, digital ecosystems, now we are talking about putting all the brains, yeah, all the intelligence into the banking services. Yeah, so it's talking about intelligent, predictive, and more personalized banking powered by AI itself. Yeah. So what we see is that we put a terms here. AI is the inflection point right now. Yeah. So with AI, there will be the curve of growing. It will be going more exponential. Yeah, because it is not replacing of digital, extends the service of digital, and also digital is creating data, and now is AI consuming the data and creating the intelligence itself. Yeah. So in the future, what we are going to see is that the bank that is the fastest of adopting AI, it will be the banks that winning the competitions. Yeah. So it's talking the key point here, the keyword here is the speed of adoptions. Yeah. Next. What are being delivered when talking about digitalization? We see from the customer point of view. Yeah. Also, it's being helped by digitization is helped by COVID. When COVID is coming, everybody cannot be moving around, meeting people, so that we need everything doing on the digital way. That's why we are talking about digital onboardings, yeah, and the customer point of view, mobile banking, digital payment, self-service channels. It is growing very fast when we see all this COVID going in. So it is fueling all these digitizations phase. On the back end itself, a lot of things happens. Yeah, workflow automations, paperless operations, straight-through processing, a lot of things powered by digitalizations. And also on the management itself, we are talking about real-time dashboard, enterprise reporting, data-driven decisions. It happens during the digital era that we are facing. We already been experiencing this maybe 10 years to 5 years starting, something like that, until now. We are in the digitalization era. Yeah, that's what digitalization has delivered. Next. But when we see digitalizations happening, digital creating huge amount of data, 3 times of data now being accumulated into all the storage of the bank infrastructures. But only less than 40% is being analyzed, all those data. Yeah. And then we are talking about decision making, 70% of decision making, management decision within banks are being created based on manual analysis. Yeah, it's quite a paradox. Yeah, when we are talking about a huge amount of data, but we cannot process them. That's talking about digital. People are saying that digital, the new fuel is data, something like that, but we don't leverage them well actually until now, until AI is coming. Yeah. So what we see is that information is overload, but we cannot analyze them. Yeah. But operation complexity, because ecosystem is connected one to another when digitalization came in, and then a lot of people see this opportunity of doing increasing on the fraud itself. Yeah, a lot of people are trying to leverage the technology by doing the new way of doing frauds. Yeah, customer expectation is also growing, so that when we are talking about digital, the key message here is that it creates an abundance of data, but we don't do it, we don't leverage it very well on the leveraging or using the data as analytic tools. Next. So why AI matters right now? Yeah, because we have the infrastructure of the massive data, and when talking about AI, is talking about big computing power to process it. And now it's happened already. Yeah, we understand that a lot of a big company with big super heavy computing power processing them. Google starting them, yeah, and then followed by many big companies, yeah, and only big companies with big processing power that can create these capabilities, yeah, because it consumes of big processing power, and also AI itself is mimicking what is human doing, what is human thinking, the way of thinking. Yeah, so AI is processing the universe of people thinking itself and create a mathematical statistician algorithm into able to make a new way of doing things. Yeah, and mimicking what people is thinking. Yeah, that's what's happening. So 3 components in place right now. So that's why AI is in place. Yeah. And when we are talking about these big companies that are creating the AI itself, we see that the competition only happens between giants. Yeah. We see that Google starting it, Facebook is also doing it. Yeah, it's quite big. Facebook starting in the early days, but they have issues. The AI itself can be very creative, creating their own language. Even they need to terminate the project. It's a lot of things. Yeah. So the danger of AI, we see that through the experiment of these companies, and then we can see this is one of the risks. But also AI is only can be processed within big companies itself. Yeah, that's what we see in general. What are the primary functions of AI itself? We see that when we are talking about digitalization, is automatic task process. Now it's thinking, because it augment the decision of people and the business process. Yeah, so AI can do all those things. In the data usage itself, it generates insights and also doing prediction, as well as in parallel. From the customer experience, it will be more personalization happening. Yeah. And the decision logic, it will be a continuous basic of learning in the continuous basis. AI will also improving their way of learning with new data being consumed all those times, so they can do a continuous improvement. Operating mode, for sure, it will be more towards the predictive things. Yeah. So the foundations built through digitizations, all the data will be leveraged by AI. Yeah, it is creating the next wave of doing things, especially in the banking sector. Next. So, if we want to see the difference in the beginning, yeah, and when we are talking about banking industry, banking already been adopting AI since the beginning. We do it since when we are talking about the terms of RPA, robotic process. Robotic process is in iterative process of people doing things on the iterative way. It's being replaced by a robotic process. Then it comes with traditional AI. We adopt traditional AI through usually machine learning of credit scoring. We do a parameter learning of the data, train data, and then we determine what are the parameters to underwrite a credit applications, all these things. That's the traditional AI that we are doing things. Also on the face recognition and all those things. And then comes generative AI. Generative AI also play a big role on the acceptance of AI, because when generative AI coming in, a lot of consumers exposed to it, yeah, through the social medias that we are seeing, something like that. We are talking about ChatGPT, Google Gemini, yeah, all those things. Generative AI create a big adoption, awareness of people, yeah. And then the next it will be on agentic AI. Yeah. Agentic AI is very interesting, because when we are talking about generative AI, people still asking things to ChatGPT and get the answers. Agentic AI is a small AI being installed in devices everywhere. Yeah? And then agentic AI can think of itself, connecting things, and create tasks to do things. It's like more individual things, autonomous operations within that device. That's agentic AI. Yeah. So this is also very important things on the agentic AIs. Yeah. And then we see that it will be reinforced learning, trying to become like a human by itself. Yeah. We will see a lot of things happening in the future with agentic AI. Yeah. If we see in the social media, we see the Chinese robot playing kung fu, something like that. Yeah. And then maybe a few weeks ago, they are doing a running race between robots, something like that. We see that mimicking people, getting more and more closer. And then within that device, it will be an agentic AI that can think by itself. Yeah. So it's very interesting what will be going into the future. Yeah. So because robot itself can acting like a humans, that we will be seeing that soon. Yeah, something like that. But back again, in the point of view of the banking itself, agentic AI is something that will be helping people to do tasks. Yeah. So we might see in the years to come, it will be no more mobile banking or m-banking that people is using. Everybody will have their agentic AI that will do banking for them, connecting to one bank to another bank, something like that. Yeah. So if we see digitalization is creating ecosystems, digital ecosystems, in the future itself, we have an AI assistant that can do things for us, yeah, connecting things and do tasks for us, yeah, buying coffee or something, ordering things, pay for us, all those things. Yeah, a lot of things can be done. So that's agentic AI that we are be seeing in the future. Next. These are the values created across the banking sector. What are the AI implementations? A lot of things, yeah, in the point of view of customers, operations, risk, and also employee point of view. It's talking about productivity, personalization for customer, increasing fraud detection capabilities, etc., as well as talking about efficiency or productivity in our operations. Next. Now, so as AI built on digitalization, for sure we need to understand digitalization creating data, so the data has to be good to create a good AI, something like that, because AI doing the decision based on the data. Yeah, data governance has to be there, and also cybersecurity. I think I want to stress out on this in this chart on the cybersecurity. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, there is one big company that is very popular right now called Anthropic, creating the product is cloud. Few months ago, they released a new product on the cybersecurity that can see weakness on any systems. Yeah. And what these tools can do is actually, it found weakness on many things, on the cybersecurity weakness on many things, so that the founder of this company get afraid of themselves and take back the, cancel the launching of the product itself. Yeah. So we understand that when we are talking about in this world of AI, it's compiling all the intellectuals of people, combine it all together. It can be a very, very powerful things. Yeah. So it can be good things, it can be bad things. Back again. Yeah. So those are the things. And then when we are talking about implementation of AI, like being stressed also by Pak Dian, banks always have making mistakes. We want to launch product first and then talk about governance security later. Always been, yeah. I'm a practitioner in industry and we made that mistake also, yeah. So knowing that the breadth of AIs and then impact on the people, we need to start doing that from the beginning. The governance has to be in place from the first day. Also the security, cybersecurity on AI has to be put in place from the first day of implementations. If not, then it will be a chaos. We cannot control it anymore, something like that. Yeah, next. So these are the how we can adopt AI responsibly. When we are talking about banking, banking is a institutions that is having perceived as a trust. Yeah, the value of a bank is its trust of the people to do banking with us. Yeah. So when we are adopting AI, then we have to do it responsibly to ensure that the trust is there. What is the component of trust within AI itself? First is the model. We need to ensure that the model is correct model, is not creating bias. Data privacy, we need to protect it. Security, yeah. Explainability, why do the AI make this kind of recommendations? Regulatory compliance has to be there, and also ethical of use. Yeah. So we need to assemble this all together to ensure that our institutions still get the trust from the customers. Yeah. So the competitions in the future itself is also on the AI will also embed the trust component into the landscape. Next. This is the roadmap, yeah, of the AI journey itself. AI journey for sure, when we are talking about building the data foundations, integrated data platform, advanced analytic, then enterprise AI, own LLM with all the regulations, we need to put the data in place, because if we just rely on Google or Microsoft, something like that, then actually you need to pump our data outside the infrastructure. So we need to build on our own, something like that, the enterprise AI, and also going into the enterprise banking. How long will it take? When we are talking about AI native banking, maybe the fast adopters will take 3 to 5 years going there. Yeah, that's a fast adopters. But also the competitions in the future, if talking about AI, the fastest is the winner. Yeah, so we need everybody that seeing this, we need to adopt this fast and then make the plans necessarily to embed AI into their banking service. Next. What is the success factor that success of implementation of AI looks like? So that's the keyword. Faster, simpler, safer, more personal, more productive. Yeah, we can translate into all the points. Yeah, but we need to see it that actually on the success factor, it has to be, what is that? It has to be seen and to be felt from the customer point of view, the employee point of view, and also for the shareholder point of view. Yeah, for sure, on the customer point of view, is more personalization, something like that, more easier, more faster. Employee will have their tools necessary, faster, easier, something like that, to do all the tasks they need to do, and also follow shareholder, return on investment, etc. Yeah, so those are the KPIs that we need to see, and at the end we need to compare before and after implementation of AI, it is going better or not. Next. So maybe the takeaways, yeah, from digitalization into AI. The first thing is that digitalization is a foundation of the AI itself, because we need the data, AI needs the data to create the intelligence. And now AI is not optional. Everybody's need an AI. Everybody embedded it into their operations. So we need to adopt this also as a bank. Trust is a differentiator, yeah, because when we adopt AI just without seeing the trust itself, then people will not trust us again. Yeah, trust is differentiator, and also what we see is that the competition is talking about the speed, so we need to start the journey now. I think that's what I want to convey into these presentations. Thank you for all your attention. Selamat siang.
Terima kasih Bapak Haryantono. There are three perspectives using AI for banking sector ya Bapak ya. I note about from the perspective of customer expectation, second from banking operation, and third is management. Okay, thank you very much Bapak Ibu. We still have 4 speakers from Professor Veronica Almase from PUP Philippines that join with us via Zoom. Is there Prof. Veronica? Not connect yet? Not connect. Okay, maybe there are technical issue about the internet from Philippines. So we can move to question and answer session. But before I share to the audience, I will give a question from the speaker first. Prof. Anggito Abimanyu, that you say about how the university to fill the gap about the curricula and also the demand of industry. So maybe in very valuable of today, you can share how Perbanas Institute can fill the gap about, so we can address the curricula and how about the demand on industry. Okay. Can you, sorry.
Langsung jawab aja. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. The point that I will make about the bridging or the closer gap between academics and industry is something which Perbanas has to think about it seriously. I think we have a vocational school, yeah, and okay. I think this should be the engine of bridging gap between academic and industry. I have an LPS, I don't know about the OJK, maybe Pak Dian can also contribute to this discussion. In LPS we have 10 MOUs with the university. Basically, we have 5 pillars of cooperation, starting from internship, students internship, and lecturer internship. This has not been done. I think most of the university professors, university lecturers need also to be internship, because students, we open for students to be internship, but lecturer, professors, if they have time to do it, you can sitting in the board meeting, learning about the decision-making process. It will be valuable for the teachers, for the professors also. This part. This year we have 2 professors to be in the LPS, to sitting in the board meeting, and then they make valuable discussion. This is a first ever program that we have been able to design. Number 2, with regards to research collaborations, empirical research. At the moment, we have about 5 or 4, how many university collaborations on digital profile of digital banking, Sharia banking, local regional bankings, and general banking. So basically, we bring, because we have a rich of data, we have about 600 million accounts in our big data, including all of your accounts, so we can see the profile of these depositors. So there's something which you can contribute to this. Number 3 is with regards to bringing industry to campus. So one is bringing the campus to industry, bringing industry to campus, because its location is very strategic. So there's no issue with regards to transport. So UNS, the Solo, they have designed concentration on what's it called? Kuliahnya itu namanya banking, apa namanya? Siapa tahu anak-anak yang dari LPS, guarantee or resolutions, So the practical part of it. So they designed lecture course, special course on that. And then we reward with award. We can give the reward on additional scholarships to university. So those kind of collaboration can be bridged. So bring industry to campus, send the university to industry. That will closer the gap of this. I think if Pak Sis can start with small collaboration, this can be bridged. So basically, we have an idea, like in OJK, many of bankings, like Mega, they must have space for students to sit in and to learn about the practicality of this and leadership and ethic component of it. So we welcome these collaborations. I think, as I said earlier, in LPS we have the alumni of Perbanas who can be instrumental persons to bring this into action. So those kind of cooperation can be designed, and then hopefully that will closer the gap between the academic and the industry.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Anggito. So magang not only for student but also for the lecturer. Untuk dosen, kolaborasi riset, and a lot of data that can be used in the next research. Okay, and the second question for Bapak Dian. Talking about the use AI, use AI also produce the high volume of information, of broad information, and usually follow about the ethical, Bapak. Jadi, is there any regulation about ethical using AI for banking or financial industry? Maybe you can share it about.
Okay, thanks a lot for the questions. I think in my statement, in my speech, I already mentioned actually that OJK just last year actually we just issued what we call it the artificial intelligence guidelines. That basically I think within that POJK I think we regulate a lot of issues, but one of the things that most important is actually that ethical responsibility is
Yeah.
supposed to be there. So at least I think it's still, if you see, I think it probably some of you, I think, already find out, and in some of international organization, people still discussing whether we are supposed to regulate the artificial intelligence activities at all. But I think we have decided last year that I think we just cannot move forwards in smooth way without issuing that kind of guidelines, because there are many banks who come to our office actually asking whether they will allow, I mean, to utilize artificial intelligence, to use artificial intelligence. So that's probably that kind of question actually remind us that I think we're supposed to issue that the guidelines, I mean, for that how the industry can go ahead and using the artificial intelligence to certainly to boost their performance. That's probably my short answer. Sorry.
Okay, thank you Bapak Dian. And the next question for Bapak Haryantono. In Perbanas we have 3 fakulty, Bapak, Teknologi Informasi, Fakultas Ekonomi Bisnis, and juga Vokasi dan Profesi. Talking about the competency of information technology, maybe you can share to our student and our lecturer basic competency right now that to fill gap and address the information digitalization and also AI in banking, so they can join in maybe other bank they graduate from Perbanas Institute.
Okay, thank you, Bu Mariana. Jadi, I think when we are talking about the, let's see, on the skill set of AI, yeah, for sure, technical is one thing, yeah. You need the basics of data management, all those things. But another thing is that when we are talking about implementing AI, we need to be a subject matter expert, understanding what areas, yeah. So you need to understand what operation part of the banks itself you want to embed AI. So we need to combine all those two things, the technical skill and also the banking skill. Okay. Yeah, so that I think when we are talking about new graduates, something like that, if you're coming from the technical background, then you have to be exposed to understand what are the basic banking operations do. Yeah, if you're from the banking side itself, yeah, economic, something like that, you can do also. You just need to complete yourself with the technical things. Yeah, and also we understand that with AI, you don't need very deep technical skill in the future, something like that maybe. Makasih.
Okay, terima kasih sekali. So, I open the question from the floor. Maybe there is a question, you can raise hand and mention your name. Dari panitia bisa dibantu mikrofonnya? Okay, the first question. And the second in the left, okay. And then Pak Acong. Ya, silakan Mbak.
Thank you for all the presentation. It's very amazing. So basically my question first for
namanya Mbak?
Oh yeah, I'm Jing from Konstruksi.ai. So basically I have a AI company that operate in Indonesia. Also right now we expand in not Southeast Asia but Asia Pacific like Hong Kong, Philippines, and Malaysia. And basically I really interested with the presentation from about how to bridging the startup and also the big corporation bank. Like when I had experience, like we presentate our company, and my friends also presented their company in one of the big bank in Singapore. But the problem is the big bank always want the company, AI company that really mature enough to implement to the bank. And the second problem, sometimes the big bank want to make like internal tools for their bank. So basically my question is what kind of advice to bridging between that companies, startup and also a big bank, so they can collaborate in the future. And my second question is about I want to know like how the adaptation of AI in a bank in Indonesia. How much the percentage right now, and what kind of challenge that maybe us as a younger person in this room can tackle for the future of technology. Thank you.
Oke, maybe from Pak Dian, bagaimana bridging startup dengan apa namanya big banking about the using AI, and then the second is about the how to fill the challenge about it.
Okay, thank you, James, for the question. That's very important questions, I think. So, first of all, James, I think I'm in the opinion actually that IT actually will define the competitiveness of banking in the futures. That for sure, I think. That's why I think why we encourage the consolidation of banking sector, for example, because there is no way I think small bank can afford to finance this kind of investment. It's a very expensive, very huge investment. So that's the first thing. Meaning that I think in the future I think there is no way I think even a small bank have to use the sophisticated IT. Now we need to how we can get that. How can try to resolve that kind of different perception, different opinions about whether and how the bank work with the third party. In this case, probably startup one. So first thing you have to understand that actually there was an issue actually. There is an issue that now is actually under the scrutiny of international organization like Basel Committee on Banking Supervision, for example. The third party risk, meaning that the risk that can be arise when you use when you implement the IT using 100% of outside, from outsourcing in this case. So it's considered quite risky. So that's why the banks at certain degree has to have some control over the IT. That for sure. I think actually you can discuss with the bank in much more details about just about anything actually, especially if you talk about the non-disclosure requirements, for example. You may negotiate that kind of things, but for sure I think under existing rules and regulation, actually banks are allowed to set up the technology by themselves or hiring outsource actually. So that's my brief question. So meaning that I think the market is still there. In Indonesia now the banks is still 104 banks. So certainly I think probably you cannot deal with a big bank like Mandiri, BNI, or probably BCA, but there's still more banks. I think more than 100 banks that actually more receptible to that kind of proposal. I think so. Hopefully that answers the questions. Okay, but.
There are a lot of potential about using AI, but there are a lot of consideration that always be followed by the bank. Okay, maybe Pak Haryantono, ada yang ditambahkan?
Yes, I think Pak Dian already been point out what is the concern. Yeah, for sure. Bank basically wants to have security in there. Yeah, when we are partnering, we don't know what sort of arrangement are the banks processing data on your side. For sure, those are the things that people will try to avoid. Yeah, if everything still resides within the bank, usually you can work well with the banks because there is no such restriction. Yeah, the bank can still process the inside. Maybe you need to, as Padian saying, there are another 100 plus banks that you need to talk to. Yeah, if one or two banks rejects you. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Prof. Anggito, maybe one session about
Give an advice to the young generation about AI.
Yes.
First, you must learn AI. Something which simple. You have to have an understanding of AI, how AI works. You start from ChatGPT, Gemini, PPT generator, I love music, etc. You can start with that. Number two is to empower AI. AI understand you. You must learn, you must apply AI for day to day, but you must understand the risk of having an AI. AI is not a perfect tools. You know, last night I made an AI for my presentation, but it needs corrections. You know, I have to go through individual data and make sure data is not wrong. So you have to do it manually as well. You know, but the more and more you apply AI will know you, AI know the language that you have. Number three, if you can have the power to do it, to build a sovereign AI for your own sovereign AI, your own. And this is very important. But this is the advice not for only for the students, but more for the teachers. You must know, because you cannot ask students to write a paper. They can easily write a paper in 5 minutes, you know. You must be aware of it. So professor or docent who give assignment for a write paper, there's a mistake, mistake, you know, the mistake. But the soft skill, the ethic, the leadership, they cannot be taught by AI. So you must learn, you must teach how to do it. But you must have your own capacity on that. Otherwise, the students will trick you, you know. If you give homework assignment, they can do it 5 minutes. 5 minutes, but even 2 minutes they can do it. So don't do it. Professor who assign students for do a paper, this belongs to the past. No more. No more. If you do an exam, homework exam, this belongs to the past. Delete that kind of attitude. That has to change. The attitude has to change now. So again, learn, apply, and empower of AI. And we look forward to have AI roadmaps. If we can have our national AI, that would be great. For example, to create a sovereign cloud. Because now cloud, it's you know, the security is becoming an issue. But if you can create, like an LPS, we have our own sovereign cloud. You know, we can design our sovereign cloud. So make sure that cloud is only the internal purposes. Data is an internal purposes. But without AI, the business process will take longer than using AI. So I might have my own experience, but you have to understand the risk of having an AI. Make sure that no plagiarisms, you know. Make sure that you have to check plagiarisms. Make sure that those kind of behavior being checked. That's why students has to teach how to do ethical work. You know. Otherwise, they can answer all the questions immediately. So those I give you advice. You know, when I was at MOF, I taught AI to them, but now has stopped. Yeah, nggak ada lagi ya. Now, so it's leadership matters. You know, Pak Agus knows it quite well how important leadership is. When leader gone, the program gone. This is something quite unique. Even MOF, Pak Agus, you were there. You know, your leadership matters a lot. When you're gone, all the issues that are being taught by you sometimes gone. If you don't teach the future leaders. So I only had 1 year at MOF, so I have no time to build a future leaders. When leaders gone, suddenly it's gone. So this is something which leaders have to build a new leaders, new leadership. Rectors, you have to prepare for new rectors. You don't have to think about yourself, but for future generation. Otherwise, the program you have built, how many years, Pak? 9 tahun, 8 years. And will be gone once you are gone. It's so sad. I've seen this kind of leadership in Indonesia, it's like that. Yeah. I don't want to go into detail because otherwise they will create another discussion. But think about it.
Oke, thank you Prof. Anggito. Oke, jadi selain banking skill, technical skill, also soft skill and leadership. Oke, we open the second question for the floor.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. My name is Esther. I'm one of student of doctoral Perbanas.
Esther.
First question,
Yeah,
yeah.
Esther,
First,
ya?
Esther.
Oh,
Thank you. First question untuk Prof. Anggito. As the Indonesia and global facing slowly economic growth and rising business uncertainty and increased pressure for profit and efficiency. So how AI truly become a sustain of growth and profit in this economy? And how the stakeholder can simply minimizing the layer of cost of AI technology. Second question for Pak Yebe. Selamat siang Pak Yebe. How business leaders, not only banks, but hospitality, manufacturer, with the long-term AI investment can ensuring the return of investment, Pak? Because today we know that the AI takes a high cost. And the third is to educate how OJK can pretend the potential risk from using AI technology. Thank you, Pak.
okay. First from
Four.
Mbak Esther for Prof. Anggito.
Betul.
Iya, oke Prof. How using AI to improve the economy in this area, but also how to minimize the cost of using AI.
This question should be directed to all the CEO and CFO here, who has been experiencing turbulence at the moment, how they can survive with this, right? The most important, if the business really are not slowing down, then what they can do is to cut costs, costs to make your company more efficient. Help you to provide more efficient production and services, etc. Correct, yeah, Pak, yeah? Because the demand has not been picked up because of the global geopolitical issues. But the way to do it is to look at yourself. You look at yourself. How can you operate within or improving your efficiency? AI will help. Maybe Pak Haryantono can explain how to do it within using AI on your own company. In my institution, although we are not victim of the crisis of this global volatility, but our attitude is the same. Basically, we want to do a more efficient operation. We want to do a cut cost. We want to be more lean, but speed matters. AI will give you again a more efficient operation as well as effective operation. But again, I already indicated some points with regards to using AI. You have to learn, you have to empower, and you have to put a risk on it. But AI definitely will help you. Not only AI, the business process, the big data, the Internet of Things, and all those things will help, yeah, Pak Arianta, yeah? So you may want to explain that in real terms. But to me, AI has become relevant when it comes to crisis time, particularly when the demand is constrained. Then you look at the other side of the coin, which is to provide more efficient operation in your company or your institutions. The same goes to university, same, yeah?
Yes.
Sama kan? Same. All institutions facing the same things. You must do. This is part of the efficiency, bukan ya? No. Nah, using this place, using the AI tools, to improve your efficiency.
Okay, maybe from Bapak Haryantono or Pak Dian.
Okay, I think maybe as Prof already been pointing to me, then I need to add some answers to what Easter is asking. When we are talking about implementation of technology, for sure, when we are talking about, let's say, a few years ago, cloud, everybody going to cloud is cheap, something like that. But cheap as the beginning. When on the large scale, it will be more expensive than people processing by themselves, something like that. Yeah, so a lot of people migrating into cloud and then migrate off from the cloud, something like that. So it happens. So I think in every implementations, you need to decide wisely. AI itself is a business. OpenAI, Google, they charge you. It's a business for them. Yeah, they invest so big power, something like that, so for people to use it and pay to them, something like that. So what we need to do is that for sure we need to use them effectively. We understand which area that we need them, which area that we need to do a offline process, something like that. Let's say machine learning is something that is cheap, is free. Yeah, you can do that. But for sure, if using Gen AI, you need to have their power, to use their power. You need to pay for them. So use it wisely, only for things that is necessary. Yeah, for sure, every technology utilization will have cost, something like that maybe. Yeah, thank you.
Oke, terima kasih sekali Bapak Haryantono. So we move to the third question from Pak Acong. Pak Acong before. Oke. Oh, Pak Dian, mohon maaf.
Belum jawab yang tadi pertanyaannya.
Iya, silakan Pak Dian.
Okay, thank you. Before I answer the question from Easter, just want to add something probably. Wow. there was a research that I think I read in the Economist about how much is actually AI can help the performance of the company. So one of the things it's basically a very basic idea is actually it's really depend to how much AI can replace humans.
Okay.
Now probably if you heard just a couple of days ago the new phrase introduced by Bill Winters, the CEO of the Stanchart, that Stanchart is willing to replace all human if necessary. They call it the new terms, to replace the low value human capital. So that's probably, you heard about it. This is a very controversial phrase by Bill Winters about whether the IT can actually take over the whole human being function in any industry basically. So if 100%, for example, of course the result will be much higher. But if it's only small part of it, the result will be very small. That's for sure. So that's very basic ideas. And to answer my the direct question to me relating to how OJK will prevent potential risks. So I think for us, I think as a regulators and supervisors, there are two things, and at least two things we have to do. Actually, three things actually probably we have to do. First is actually we have to issue regulations, guidelines, and guidelines relating to about almost everything related to digitalization process, including the AI, such as the artificial intelligence guideline, for example, that state clearly what the bank should do, I mean, to prevent any possible problem in the futures. So that's one thing. Second one is certainly we are supervising the industry. So with this, I think we have also quite many people actually who has expertise actually in dealing with the IT in each individual bank actually. So with that, I think we try to prevent the best we can actually. But it's kind of hard based on our experience that we can prevent all the risks altogether. It's always happened. It's always some loophole that, the, can be, it just, the cyber attack could happen with much more sophisticated way. Because now I think the criminals, the cyber attacks, for example, or the activities like what they call it, I forgot the terms, but basically I think there was an advanced approach, done by the culprit. They work together. They work like incorporated, So scamming itself, for example, is done currently by international organization. They are coordinated. They are cooperated. They are in cooperations. They are coordinated. While we sometimes, I think in Indonesia, it's kind of hard sometimes, to talk to each others because of many, prudential reasons, such as probably a non-disclosure requirement, something like that. You just cannot disclose the information from one bank to the other banks, for example. But now I think we try to deal with that. We have anti-scamming task force, we might say probably, that established by OJK and consisting of many banks and many related departments, how to deal with this kind of risks, for example. So there are a lot of things actually we can do actually to prevent the risk. But for sure, I think it's kind of hard to guarantee that 100% we will free of risk. Thank you.
Okay, terima kasih Pak Dian. There is very interesting discussion because the limitation of time, maybe we only have one. Pak Acong terakhir, maybe this last question.
My name is Acong. I'm lecturer from Manas Institute. My top question is, while AI and the open access education democratizes finance in all aspects, and at the same time, the situation create a risk, such as predatory lending environment, and then miscommunication, or we call as echo chambers dilemma. My short question is, what specific safeguard and policies that the regulators as well as institution, financial institution or education institution must build up in order to prevent the customer perspective and also create fair financial inclusion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you Pak Acong. Maybe from Pak Dian terlebih dahulu. Iya, demokratisasi AI tetapi juga di satu sisi menimbulkan resiko yang perlu diantisipasi, Bapak.
Okay, I tried to find the page that I just read actually about the questions. So basically, I think certainly I think that this is we are still having a dilemma, you may call it, between the technological progress and how we can maintain the the human nature, you may say probably. So I think that's why I think when we issue the guideline for the artificial intelligence, That's one thing in our mind actually is how to make sure that actually that the supervisions is still done by human, not by other IT, for example, not but this supervision by humans. Meaning that I think if we talk about humans, certainly I don't think, and I don't know if someday somehow probably the technology can adopt the human feeling, for example, or the human value, for example. I don't know. It's kind of hard to imagine that, but certainly by intention to put a regulation that the IT is supposed to be supervised by humans, meaning that actually we're trying to balance actually within the progress in the business and also the ethical value that we still have to maintain. So, including that you mentioned, it is possible. I mean, if, for example, if the algorithm itself, I think, can be misleading, for example, or skew, or bias, for example, towards certain group because of lack of information that they are learned actually. But basically, I think we're trying to balance that. I think, at least I think I still in the opinion by Ranto, yeah, but we are still under actually that the IT now actually still under our control actually. So I don't know in the future how advanced it's going to be, but it's really a good question that actually raised for us actually, that we should actually respond. We should actually design our future, including how the technology can be used, for example. So this is not the questions. This is the question that actually very basic: whether the technology can benefit human being. Otherwise, it's going to be dangerous, right? Actually. So this is the things that we try to balance in our new guideline actually for artificial intelligence. Democratization is correct, but at the same time, certainly I think the protection of customers and the protection of human beings as a whole is very important, including one of the things, the protection of data, because data is very important, and we have a very stringent law relating to data protection. I think that's probably.
Thank you, Pak Dian. Mungkin Prof. Anggito bisa menambahkan karena Pak Dian tadi menyampaikan data dan sekarang ini menjadi satu
I have indicated there's plus and minus on AI application to financial, particularly for the financial sectors. Number one, what is the mitigation? Number one is education. Number two, education. Number three, education. Nothing else. Because you cannot avoid AI. AI is already in your smartphone. Your kids, your grandson, granddaughter is already having access to AI. How can you avoid this? The way to do it is education. That's why I challenge Perbanas Institute to be a champion in AI education. Nowhere else, but because financial sector is the fast-growing sectors. When I was at public sectors, Pak Agus experiences, everything has been very slow. Pak. Okay? When you entering financial sector, everything has been flying cepat sekali, so fast. Technology moves so fast. Education on the public sector, Pak Agus knows it quite well. You have a degree and then implement next month. You can measure that quite easily. Maybe Pak Agus' experience, you can tell how difference between public sectors and financial sectors. This is something which completely different attitude and completely different scene, you know. But education is very important. To do education, literacy, continue that. Teach the young people to do AI, but make sure that ethic is above everything else. You cannot cheat, you cannot treat, you cannot make something wrong with this because it creates financial crime, you know. No financial crime, scheming, phishing, you know, it's easy, very easy. You can do a smartphone to do everything now. I don't even know where the bank is located now, right? I don't even know where's the ATM is located, right? I know Bank Mega, but all I know is Alo Bank, nothing else. I can do it very easily with that. I can do live-in, I can do PSI atau apa namanya, Pion, yeah, yeah. So change. Education has to lead this. Otherwise, if you are late, then it will be chaotic. Saya nggak mau ini ya. I don't want to extrapolate that, but this is real. Now, education must lead this. Otherwise, you are being behind the curve. It's very dangerous. We are in the paradox, Pak. Our saving ratio, for example, financial ratio to GDP is low relatively to other neighbors countries, Pak Tian, ya. But our digital exposure is one of the fastest. So we are low in terms of financial literacy, but we are fast in terms of application. Because I have the LPS, I've downloaded so many applications, including crypto. I downloaded. I don't do trading, Pak, because I don't do. I just follow this for education purposes. Yesterday it was 100%, right? But today it's 85%. Suddenly, so you can get shocked with this. Suddenly, you get upside in one day, and then the next day, boom, like this. And then you try. Once you have received benefit, then you keep trying, additional, without knowing the risk. Now, who are the retail investors in Indonesia now? Millennials. Bapak tanya deh pada your students, they already exposed to saham, investment and portfolios, etc., even crypto. No? So we cannot stop them, but you need to educate them every single day. I educate my son. If you don't do it, but you must educate first. Yeah. So this is my advice. Education is becoming a key of mitigating the risk of this phenomena.
Thank you. And last from Bapak Haryantono, maybe the last before we close the session.
Sampai lupa tadi ceritanya apa.
Maintain the risk.
Okay, I think when we are talking about maintaining the risk, Pak, for sure, in the like being said before, for the bank itself, the most highest value of asset is the data itself. We need to protect the customer data inside the banks itself. Then that's on the protecting customers. The second part is protecting the bank itself, the systems, something like that. We're talking about cybersecurity, on how we protect environment. That's why when we are talking about, like what Pak Dian said, when we connect it to a third party partner, something like that, we need to ensure that the data is still there, the data is safe. Our security is not being breached. Our partner security is also not being breached, something like that. Because if they are being breached, then if there is an attack going into that particular companies, it will cost to us also. It happens in the industry. So we are all has been the banking industry has been exposed to many cyber security breach. So knowing the experience, we need to improve ourselves in the future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, very interesting session, but we have the limited time. So once again, thank you very much, Prof. Anggito, Bapak Dian, dan Bapak JB Haryanto. You share very valuable information. And we give the big applause once again for the speaker. And you can back to the seat again. And time okay, terima kasih, Bapak. Terima kasih hanya. And then I back to MC, silakan Mas Adi.
Thank you Ibu Dr. Mariana, and ladies and gentlemen, also thank you to all the panelists for today's seminar, Professor Anggito Abimanyu, and then Dr. Dian Ediana Ray and Bapak YB Haryanto for the insight and wonderful presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to inform some additional information regarding with the international conference as follows. The seminar certificate will be distributed via email, and following this seminar event, we will proceed with the call for paper, start from 1 p.m. and we kindly ask all registered participants to proceed to the room 6602 to complete the registration process and link Zoom meeting that have been arranged by the committee. And at the end of the session, the committee will also announce the award for the best paper and best presenter of all Proficient 2026 event. Before I conclude the event, on the behalf of the committee, we would like to express our gratitude to all the parties and partners and also sponsors who have contributed to the success of the event. In this special occasion, we would like also extend our deepest gratitude and appreciation to all the sponsors and partners for their generous support to the success of this event. Asuransi Stako Mandiri, PT Bank Rakyat Indonesia Persero Tbk, Perbanas Perhimpunan Bank Nasional, Lembaga Penjamin Simpanan, Otorita Jasa Keuangan, APP Group, PT Rintis Sejahtera, PT Pegadaian, Bank Mandiri, PT Triwahana Universal, PT Sarana Mukti Infrastruktur Persero, PT Bank Sentral Asia Tbk, PT Pertamina Persero, PT Bank Negara Indonesia Persero Tbk, PT Inti Indosawit Subur, PT Jaminan Kredit Indonesia, BTN, BRI Life, PT Asuransi Tripataka, PT Asuransi Kredit Indonesia, PT Bank Syariah Indonesia Tbk, Alo Bank, BRI Insurance, PT Raja Wali Nusantara Indonesia Persero ID Food, PT Permodalan Nasional Madani, BNI Life Insurance, dan PT Bank Victoria International Tbk. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your presence and kind attention. Have a wonderful day, and we wish you all an inspiring and fruitful conference. See you again at another occasion. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.